Everybody on? Let's see if everybody. It looks as we've got most of you guys back. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was keeping my one eye on the clock, and when it hit a minute, I should not have gone into to get to Nico on as well. I should not have gone into the McDonald's Burger King Steers comparison because I got hungry and took my eye off the I took my eye off the clock, and we were interrupted very abruptly. But as I was saying, products a bit easier to compare because you've got something that you can touch. You can actually, if somebody blindfolds you and says, "Listen, you're going to taste three burgers now," and because you can't see it, because you can just taste them and smell them, you um, should be um, should be impartial when you judge them according to quality. All right, so I'm going to give you three burgers. I'm not going to tell you where they're from. You eat them and you rate them quality. Don't tell me it's a Steers burger. Don't tell me it's a Nano's burger or McDonald's burger. Just from the three, rate them. It says this one is the better one. This is the second best. That's the third best. And once you've done that, we take the blindfold off and we look at the price. And that's where the comparison, if we use those two criteria for a product, is very easy to use to compare and then rate them eventually. It's a bit more difficult with the service because the service is intangible, and the service very often has to be experienced, and therefore it's very difficult for the owners and the management of a company um, to measure um, the quality of the service that they offer. There are a few models, and we'll look at some of these models in this chapter, and during the course of the tomorrow and Wednesday sessions. But quality has become a very critical component for customers, and the quality of a product, and especially the quality in how that product was serviced or how that service was delivered to them, is playing an extremely important role in decisions that customers, consumers take as to where they're going to buy and which companies and brands they will support. Let's look at online buying. You buy a product online from Takealot. It's the first time that you're buying online from Takealot. You've heard the good things about it, and you go through the process. It's not a very expensive item, but it takes them 3 days to deliver to you. And nowhere, when you bought the product, was there an indication that they're short of stock or that they have to get stock from a different branch, because they will indicate that to you and you can see it. There's 3 items in stock, or there's 5 in stock, or there's none in stock. And then you go to a different shop online and you can actually order from them. Then you know it's going to take slightly longer. But they took forever to deliver it, and you are not happy with that because you could actually have gotten in your car and bought it from the closest shop. But you wanted the convenience of not having to go through that process and have it home delivered. So that's not a very good experience. And therefore, you'll think twice before you use that particular or Takealot in the example, using their service again. Um, it is a bit more difficult because very often there are, when we're talking about physical products, there's a lot of alternatives and variations. So in other words, if you have a bad experience with Burger King, you can still go to 3, 4, 5, 6 different other alternatives. And often the quality of that product is probably not as good as the one that you've had at Burger King, for instance, but you're definitely going back to Burger King because of the service that you received. And that is not the case with services. There are very often not too many alternative choices for you. And sometimes you stay with that particular service provider because there's not this obvious difference between the quality of the work that they do as opposed to the other competitors offering the same service. And you'd much rather say, okay, right, it was a bad day. Maybe we just caught them on the wrong day. Usually their service is good. I'll stay with them. And very often people who had bad experiences with service providers don't change service providers because there isn't an alternative close by, for instance. Right. Therefore, and for the importance of this chapter as well, it's extremely important that management understands service quality, because if they understand service quality, they will realize that it is an essential prerequisite to market their service. If your service is amazing, you can find it very easy to market that particular business or service provider, because people have experienced it practically, and the reputation basically is the one that they are now selling. Right. There were a couple of people who have attempted to define what a quality or what service quality is and what quality is specifically. You can read through Bro and Duran and Zeitmel's definitions. I'm not going to give you a question in the exam to say, listen, compare three different definitions of quality, and then you have to know these by heart. There's no purpose in that. It's more important for me that you understand the concept of quality, and the different dimensions of quality, and how we measure quality, and how we actually get to the point of delivering a quality service. But anyway, let's go through that. The Bro's degree definition of quality was that he says it's the degree of excellence at an acceptable price, and the control of the variability at an acceptable cost. In other words, you will see or perceive it, a customer will perceive a product to be a quality product if the price is acceptable and if there is a variety available. Duran says there are two dimensions: your product performance and your freedom of deficiencies. In other words, the product must work. There mustn't be any problems in the product functioning. In other words, that's how the product performs. Again, it's more sort of a one-way look, one-dimensional way of looking at it. Zeitmel says the quality is broadly the superiority of excellence, distinguishes between the object quality and the perceived quality. In other words, this is closer to a more acceptable definition, and that is to say that quality is what the customer expects it to be and what the customer then actually eventually experiences. And in essence, that is the best definition of quality. Combination of the three, yes, but the combination of the three basically conclude and result in a simple definition that says what quality is that what you see as good quality or perceive to be good quality, what you expect and obviously to be delivered, and what you actually experience. There's vicious dog barking in the background. I'm so relieved. During lockdown last year, almost every single time that I had a Zoom session, my neighbor's dogs went ballistic. I actually later on didn't even apologize to the students, and I just thought maybe that adds to the authenticity of the session. But really, it's almost as if the dogs know, or my neighbor's dogs know, when I'm going to sit down for a Zoom session, and then they start barking. Up to the point where I was quite surprised when I received a notification in January with a warning for my dogs barking excessively. And I said, "Oh my word!" Anyway, I responded to that in a proper way and said, "Well, it's all fine. I'll make sure that my dogs don't bark at inappropriate times," which was surprising to me. But I did not react by saying, but oh, my neighbor's dog's actually a problem. They are barking. Because they're barking, my dogs are barking. So I just left it there and I said, you know what? That's what happens. This morning when I got in my car, I got the surprise of my life. My neighbors have moved. Over the weekend, while we were busy doing whatever we were doing and going about our things, they have moved. Because I wondered why it was so peaceful and quiet all of a sudden. But anyway, I don't mind at all if dogs bark and whatever, because people are all over the peninsula and in different venues. And actually, I'm a dog person, so I don't mind at all. Um, as a matter of fact, I'm actually now concerned what my dogs are doing now. They can't bark because the neighbors' dogs are not there. So what are they doing when we are all at work and kids are at school? Anyway, we'll see what the damage is when we get home this afternoon. But the quality of of a service, if we can get back in line with work, is absolutely crucial and plays such an important role in the final decision that the customer takes. And very often, especially if the products and the quality of the products and the price of the product are similar or the same, the business that gets the business is the one that delivers that particular service in a better way. The negatives of poor service, we all know. I mean, we experience it on a regular basis. But for a business, it's quite simple. You're going to lose sales because your customers are going to go to your competitors, because your competitors are either offering a better quality or they are cheaper. But people will leave. People will leave and go to a different service provider, more likely because of bad service than of a bad product. Another negative of poor quality is that it increases the cost because you have to now do the service that you. Let's say, for instance, I ask you to paint this room for me. I come back and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is not a good job, and I'm not going to pay you. You have to repaint this." So there's extra cost. There's increased cost because you have to redo the work that you didn't do properly in the first place. You also spend a lot of time on dealing with customer complaints. If I bought shoes from a particular company and I return the shoes because I'm not happy with them, they have to, not have to, but they usually give you a replacement pair of shoes of similar quality and price, or they give you store credit, or but you are satisfied when you leave there. That's extra cost for them. It's extra time that they have spent. And then we find that in the times that we live in, very often the impact of our industrial society, manufacturing, the services that businesses deliver, the polluting the air and stuff like that, not complying to the necessary regulations as to protecting the environment, impacts on the quality of human life, for that matter. It's not necessarily our services. There are very few services that people will actually willingly pay to use if there is a danger that it will impact negatively on their quality of life, or even injure them or kill them, for that matter. Right. I'm going to finish today's session with the following, and we should be able to finish it within the next 5 to 10 minutes. The different perspectives or different approaches that we can have towards assessing quality. In other words, how do you assess quality? How do you know if it's good quality or not? Now, there are a few approaches. There's 5 approaches that we will individually quickly look at. The first one is the transcendent approach. And the transcendent approach refers to the fact that quality cannot be defined definitely, but it's more a matter of experience, like the Woolies experience that you've had and the strawberry experience that we've had. Another example that we can use to compare it is the 2 images that we see there on the screen. The one of fans who are very happy, the team's winning. As a matter of fact, the quality of rugby I saw again on the weekend. We as world champions have to be scared because, again, the New Zealand team's quality of play is superior. But again, I'm pretty sure we get to in the next World Cup, everything that will happen, would have happened, is long forgotten. But the crowd on the left-hand side are very happy. They have they have a good experience, as opposed to the ones on the right. They are dejected, and very often this experience is is related to how your team has performed, and maybe even if they won or lost. Very often, or very few occasions, a team goes, supporters go home and say, "Listen, our team was the best team today. They played fantastic. I know they didn't win, but I'm happy." That's not usually the case. You are still unhappy because they lost. When we refer to sport, we like to and we support teams because we want to support winners. We don't support a team. Let me share some personal experience with you. And very few of you will support a team like I have supported Liverpool since 1972. So I have come a long way as a supporter, and the last time that they won the league was actually when I worked in London for 2 years, and then again 30 years later, last season. So yes, I've stayed loyal because I enjoy the people. Spent some time there. I was at a game in 1989 where 95 people lost their lives in a disaster where pavilions collapsed and people, yeah, were smothered to death. So obviously, yes, I have more than just a fan link to him. It's personal to me as well. And also, if you work in London for 2 years, and you have not converted to enjoying football, you definitely haven't been to London. So it rubs up on you, and they're football crazy nation, and as a result of that, I became a loyal supporter. But again, it's the experience. So your transcendent approach often refers to the experience, and usually the experience is a good one if your team has won. A product-based experience could be there's a difference in quality based on the number of features and attributes that a particular product or service has. The example I've used there is one of a specific hotel group that hasn't got any phones in their rooms. Now, usually people expect phones to be in the hotel room so they can actually order room service, or maybe somebody could contact them. But then, no phones in the hotel room is definitely going to be a selling point to people who want peace and quiet. And they have their cell phones if people want to reach them in emergencies. But that's one of the reasons why they've actually escaped to a venue that hasn't got phones in the room. Your manufacturing-based approach refers specifically to products and services that have to meet certain minimum criteria for the product or for the service to be to rate it as a quality product or a quality service. Airlines I've taken here as an example because we all know that there's one thing that is important to somebody who travels, and that is for your flights to depart and arrive on time, and for your luggage to also be on the same flight as you. I was extremely impressed with Emirates Air when I flew back from New York City. As a matter of fact, on that day we flew from New York City to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Dubai, and Dubai Cape Town. When I boarded the plane in New York, it was American Airlines. Then then it was Emirates Air. No, it was Emirates Air again from Los Angeles to Dubai, and Emirates again from Dubai to Cape Town. When I got on the plane, although it was a different airline in New York, my luggage went on board that flight and arrived with me on the same plane in Cape Town 23 hours later. Now, that's the kind of thing that you expect. And those are aspects that's extremely important for customers and why customers would fly with a particular airline or use a particular service rather than another. You don't want your bag to be opened. As a matter of fact, because of policy in America, when we flew Cape Town to New York, when I got my my baggage at JFK in New York, I could see that my bag was opened, but it was custom to open it. They randomly opened bags, um, and there was a little envelope inside with a note from them said, "Listen, your bag has been randomly selected and checked, and everything is fine." Okay, so they do that too. But I mean, in South Africa, I don't want to say it's just South Africa, but with many airlines, some stuff never arrives. When my wife flew to Belgium last year via Frankfurt, um, her luggage got lost. But again, the way in which the airline resolved the matter was fantastic. She immediately got a voucher for €1,000 that she can actually go to the shop on the airport and buy herself clothes until her luggage arrived, which she did 3 days later. Again, that kind of service is what you expect, and you will definitely support an airline like that. Let's look at the last two approaches. Your user-based approach is where the customer or the user-based approach says the customer is always right. The customer basically says to you, if I say it's quality, it's quality. Like the guys on the right-hand side, they are really having a wonderful time. They're giving that particular venue a thumbs up. And the guy on the right-hand side is wondering who the chef is because he's not happy. If we look at the third, the final one, the fifth one, a value-based approach. And here we say that cost and price, or the relationship between cost and price, is what determines if it's valuable or not. So the quality is considered to be good if the price is acceptable for that quality of service that we've received. Okay. A little survey that was done for the example I've used. I couldn't download the image because it was restricted. But the survey was done amongst a company, and 53% of the people said the quality is the most important thing to me, versus 38% said the price is the most important thing to them. So at the end of the day, we know quality is very important. Quality is what is valuable to us. And what's valuable to me is not going to be valuable to somebody else. And that's where customers are different. And that's why it's so different to measure accurately the quality of a service. That's where we will also finish today. I thank you. Any questions, you're more than welcome to mail me. You're more than welcome to write them down. You're more than welcome to ask them now. You're more than welcome to share them in class tomorrow. If everything goes well, I will see you tomorrow for the third period. Is there anybody, any questions or any contribution at this stage, or should we save it for tomorrow, third period? Are all good? Everybody still alive?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jessica.
Good, sir.
Thanks, Danielle. Okay. Thanks, ladies. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy your day.
The same to
Bye,
you.
sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye.